Behind the Mirror of Music with Dannii Cohen.
Hello and welcome to Behind the Mirror of Music. My name is Dannii Cohen. This week's guest is Rebecca Wicking. Rebecca Wicking is a soprano and live performer working across musical theatre, concert performance, cabaret, and bespoke events. On stage, Rebecca starred in You Won't Succeed on Broadway If You Don't Have Any Juice, Into the Woods, Rent, Hair, A Tale of Two Cities, Annie Get Your Gun, A Midsummer Night's Dream, and Chess. She also released a solo album, Because I'm Rebecca Wicking, which became a best-selling female musical theatre vocal album at Dress Circle. I hope that you'll enjoy the show.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
Good.
Okay, great.
Okay. What are you up to right now?
So I perform at events mainly. So all around the world, traveling, performing at personal events, corporate events, any kind of event. And I also have my own Jewish act that I perform at Jewish events, usually in North London, Manchester, and Israel. So that comprises of a lot of Fiddler on the Roof, Israeli music, yeah, just anything, Barbara Streisand, anything that's got a kind of Jewish theme to it. We put together something really special for a Jewish audience. So I do that as well, and that all forms kind of what I do and fills my diary really.
How did you fall in love with music and everything?
Well, from a very young age, I went to the Sylvia Young Theatre School full time, which is the most kind of famous school for younger people full time. So I went there from the age of 11, but I knew from the age of probably about 4 or 5 that this was what I wanted to do, and I had a real passion for it, and was very, very into it from a very young age. And so by the age of like 10, I already knew that was what I wanted to do. And so I was lucky enough to go to this special school, which is full time, and it's a normal school. So you do Monday to Friday, you do your schoolwork Mondays to Wednesday, and then you do the performing arts stuff on Thursdays and Fridays. And you still come out with all the same qualifications as the other normal schools, but yeah, I was very lucky that I got to do that full time from the age of 11. So yeah, since I was really, really young, I've been really serious about it.
You did musical theatre first before you moved in the other events. What was your first big role?
So I was in a musical called Hair, and I was lucky to perform that in Germany, in Frankfurt, where I covered the role of Sheila. And yeah, it was an amazing experience because I got to live in another country for a long time. And I really loved Germany. I enjoyed the culture, and I enjoyed Frankfurt, and I just felt really comfortable there. And yeah, it was an amazing production because the director, who was fantastic, he was so inventive and so creative, and we really got to play, and we really got to create something very special. And I feel like everybody in the cast was very unique, and yeah, I didn't feel like there was anything conventional about any of us, and that's what made the piece so special. And with Hair, it's a very loose storyline, I guess. And so you've got lots of scope for being creative and doing your own thing with it, as opposed to other musicals that are very much, you know, set. And so it was a really amazing experience for me, because I got to create and I got to try out things and do my own things, and I didn't have to step into anybody else's shoes or copy something or feel like I need to deliver a line, you know, how a previous actor has delivered it and things like that. So yeah, it was a really, really special and creative process. So yeah, and then quite quickly on, I did fall into events. So I have been enjoying that life. It's performing in very nice high-end places and getting fed really nice food, and you know, traveling and sleeping in nice hotels and things like that. So it is I did fall into that world quite quickly.
Did you ever do theater again if you had a chance?
Yes, I definitely would. I don't audition very much at the moment. Maybe once a year I'll go to something very, very specific. Usually something, you know, with a Jewish or Israeli theme attached to it, something like that. But because I have a family and things like that, it's a bit more tricky. So I won't be able to, you know, go away for long periods of time and things like that. And yeah, and I'm quite specific voice type as well. So there's a lot of contemporary musical theatre out there at the moment, which isn't necessarily going to be my bag. So yeah, at the moment I'm doing what I'm doing, and then obviously if something really suitable and very, very specific comes up and it was in London, then yes, definitely I would do it.
We also had your album Because of Rebecca Wicking. Could you tell about that?
Yeah, sure. So I decided to, well, first of all, it started off as a demo. I was just going to record 2 or 3 songs in a studio, just so I had a demo reel to show to people, casting directors and things like that. And then it kind of snowballed rather out of control and ended up being a full-blown album with live musicians and everything else. And I got a loan out and I just went for it. And at the time, it was a real success. You know, there was a shop called Dress Circle in Leicester Square at the time that I sold it in, who were really supportive and thought it was brilliant. And so they made it like choice to buy. They made it, you know, I was best female selling vocalist. And so within that time and in that era where that shop was, you know, somewhere that a lot of people would go to find new material and find new music and listen to new artists and find the latest musical that's come out. I was very, very lucky that I did that album at the time that I did it, and that I had the backing of Dress Circle, because the album did very, very well. And yeah, I was, you know, in my early 20s, and it very much signified me then at that time. And I got to do what I wanted to do, again, specifically to my voice, specifically to my personality. I guess when you're making your own album, you're not under any constraints, and you're not pleasing anybody else or delivering a song the way somebody else might want you to do it. And so that's what really appeals to me generally with performing and creating, is that, you know, I always like to do my own thing. I always like to do things my own way, and in my own style. And I think, yeah, that's not necessarily the easiest place to fit somebody like that. But when you're doing an album, you know, you've got no kind of, you're not put in any kind of box, and you can just do what you want. And yeah, I'm really, really proud of it. And it was a huge part of kind of my growth as a singer, as an actor. I'd love to do another one day, which would be completely different, obviously, because I'm not the same person as I was then. But sometimes, you know, like the other day, I listened to This Time Around, which was a song on the album, and I hadn't listened to it for years and years and years, and I just kind of remember it, just felt really nostalgic about it, and you know, and kind of thought, oh, I thought, yeah, I did really well as a, you know, 21-year-old girl putting this together all by myself. So yeah, it was something I feel very proud of, and gets a lot of hits and lots of listens to on Spotify and things like that. So it's still kind of going strong.
What are some of your favorite musicals?
Yeah, so I would say like my favorite, three of my favorite musicals of all time are The Producers, and Fiddler on the Roof, and Parade, and they are all obviously a Jewish theme and all Jewish composers. For me at the moment, the song that really reminisces with me and has a completely new meaning is How Can I Call This Home, from Parade by Jason Robert Brown. And it's a song that Leo Frank sings, where he feels like he doesn't fit in as a Jewish person, and people don't get him, and he just feels a real disconnect to the world around him. I feel like a lot of Jewish people are feeling like that at the moment, and so I really do listen to that song with a new meaning. So at the moment, I would say that's probably my favorite Jewish composer / song. And to get it a bit lighter, to keep it a bit lighter, you know, then go for The Producers and Mel Brooks. And I just adore his sense of humor, and it's really my kind of sense of humor and the things that make me laugh. But one song that I really love from The Producers is King of Broadway, I Used to Be the King, which is the opening number, which I believe got cut from the film. If I want to say that it got cut, but it's, for me, it's my favorite opening number from any musical, and I just love it, and I love that role. Max Bialystock, I think is one of the greatest musical theatre roles of all time, and yeah, that song is probably one of my favorite songs. And then my third would probably be Tradition from Fiddler, and because I think it's such a deep message. I think on the outside, of course, it's our traditions, and we keep Friday night, and we do this, and we have our holidays, and we have our family, and we come together, and there's that routine. But I think, you know, if you really unpack the song, you know, the idea of without our traditions, our lives would be as shaky as a fiddler on the roof. It's, you know, that repetition of coming together with your family, with your community, and also that it's really, really hard work to be Jewish. You know, it's not easy. It's a job. And it's a job, and you have to work hard at it, and you have to make the effort, and you have to do things for each other, and you want to do things for each other, and there's a whole load of things that comes with being Jewish, that comes with so much hard work and effort, and it goes back to the amount that we culturally invest in ourselves and each other. And that all forms part of our tradition, and that all forms our bond, and therefore that forms our strength, and that forms our successes. So I love tradition, and I love to think about it in a much deeper level than kind of, you know, the mamas cook and the papas read the Torah, and, you know, the daughters sew, and it's, you know, it's for me, it's so much more than that. So I love that song.
Yes, you feel like you listen to music and lyrics deeper now these days. I've noticed that everything has more meaning.
Everything has more meaning, especially when it comes to being Jewish,
Absolutely.
because there's so much to unpack with every song. And, like history, a lot of how we're feeling. We're feeling quite reminiscent today of certain things that are happening, and the rising anti-Semitism that's happening, and the feeling that a lot of us feeling right now. It's a really, really hard feeling, but I do feel like in the way that the Jewish composers have written their musicals and their songs so beautifully, I think that we can all resonate as Jewish people with those songs. And yes, they take on new, fresh meanings every time we're persecuted. But yeah, I think out of all the roles of Jewish roles, well, the two that resonate the strongest with me are Tevye from Fiddler and Leo Frank from Parade, because well, the Leo Frank story is a true story, and it's just ridiculously sad. Every time you watch it or you hear it, and you think this isn't like a fictional story. This actually happened. Yeah, and so there's lots of stories that we should be telling the world through music and through musical theatre.
Yes, recently there was also the new musical Harmony. Did you hear about it?
I did hear about it, and I haven't listened to it, but I followed it on Instagram on Broadway. I'm sorry that it didn't last as long as it sounds like it deserved to. But I really hope that somebody over here decides to do something with it. I don't know. It's I think like Jewish themed things might not be the hot topic right now, it seems. So I'm not sure, but I've heard great things about it, and I do really want to again sit down and listen to that properly. And there were some amazing people in it, and I did hear like the duet and things like that, and it was very much up my street. So if anybody does put that on in London, then that would be something that I would be very interested in being involved in.
Yes, I do hope it will go around the world, or tour at least in America, because it deserves to be told and heard.
100%, yeah, it does. But yeah, it's a shame that it didn't bring in the crowds.
Is there anything you want to say or add to the interview that you want to talk about?
And yeah, no, nothing. I think we've said all we need to say. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
It was lovely to meet you.
Glad to talk to you. It was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll be in touch with other stuff, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Well, you have a good afternoon, Dannii.
Same to you.
All right, thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Behind the Mirror of Music with Dannii Cohen.